all for being here. The Franchise and Concession Review Committee public meeting will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor,
Here.
Office of the Mayor,
Here.
Controller,
Here.
Corporation Counsel,
Here.
Office of Management and Budget,
Here.
President Borough of the Bronx, President Borough of Brooklyn, President Borough of Manhattan,
Here.
President Borough of Queens,
Here.
President Borough of Staten Island.
Here.
Will the clerk please call the first calendar item?
New York City Department of Small Business Services, calendar item number 1. In the matter of the intent to seek Franchise and Concession Review Committee approval to authorize New York City Economic Development Corporation, or NYC-EDC, on behalf of New York City Department of Small Business Services, or DSBS, to utilize a different procedure pursuant to Section 1-16 of the concession rules of the City of New York for DSBS to amend the concession agreement between the City of New York, acting by and through DSBS, and the First Flight Heliports, LLC, doing business as Sacker Aviation Services for the operation of the downtown Manhattan Heliport, located at 6 East River Piers, New York, in the borough of Manhattan.
Is there a member who wishes to make a statement or ask a question on this matter?
Thank you. I just wanted to say on behalf of the Borough President that we really appreciate all the work that everyone has put into this and significant compromise that it represents. But given the complaints we receive, and especially their intensity of the people directly affected, and our position in favor of a ban, I'm going to be voting no today. But I would request, and I think it's really important, if we could work on the complaint process. Because given the penalties set forth in the agreement, it's really important to make sure the complaints are being properly taken and followed up on. And our office has heard that 311 does not give people complaint numbers, at least not always, and which is consistent with what a couple of the people we heard, a couple of the residents testified. So I would make that request. Thank you.
For too long, the roar of helicopters has been a daily annoyance to those living, walking, or playing near our city's waterfront. Every minute or two, a tourist helicopter takes off from the lower Manhattan heliport, circles the Battery, and begins its thundering trek up and down the Hudson River, intruding upon the quiet respite of our parks and residential areas. While the controller recognizes the need to keep the lower Manhattan heliport open for law enforcement and other emergency purposes, the fact remains that tourist flights are non-essential and have never been shown to add any significant benefit to the city's larger economy. Instead, they bombard our communities with unremitting noise and pollution, which is why tourist flights have already been banned from the East 34th Street heliport and the 30th Street heliport on the west side of Manhattan. Now is the time to afford the same quality of life to residents of downtown and ban non-essential tourist flights from landing there. It's the only way we can restore some measure of peace and quiet to impacted neighborhoods, and that is why today the controller will be voting no on this proposal. Beyond the obvious noise and air quality concerns posed by the heliport, the deal before us is flawed on many levels. First, the proposed amendment calls for an independent third party hired by EDC to perform air monitoring paid for by Saker. Monthly reports on this monitoring are to be sent to the City Council, but nothing in the agreement spells out what EDC can do to hold parties accountable if the air quality monitoring exceeds allowable limits. Monitoring accomplishes little in the absence of specific remediation requirements, whether it is noise or air pollution, and this agreement fails to address the fact in any real detail. Second, there has been great concern regarding the negative health impacts of helicopters idling at the heliport on residents of neighboring buildings. The agreement calls for making best efforts to reduce idling to 10 minutes. But what defines best efforts and who makes that determination? The current agreement is silent on those critical questions. Third, the agreement states that Saker agrees to actively research available technologies to further mitigate helicopter noise, reduce emissions, and promote fuel efficiency, and to implement any such technology as it becomes commercially feasible. Again, who decides what's commercially feasible? How often must Saker conduct these reviews of available technology? Finally, while environmental assessment was done when the concession was first granted in 2007, there's been an enormous amount of residential and parkland development along our waterfront in the intervening years, and yet the city has failed to conduct an updated environmental review to help assess impacts on this changed waterfront landscape. In conclusion, Controller Stringer strongly believes that tourist helicopters offer only limited benefit to a city as densely populated as New York, and instead imposes detrimental health and environmental impacts in too many of our neighborhoods. As such, he will be voting no on today's proposal.
Will a member please make a motion to move this item?
So moved.
Will another member please second the motion? Will the clerk please take the vote?
Mayor,
Yes.
Office of the Mayor,
Yes.
Controller,
No.
Corporation Council,
Yes.
Office of Management and Budget,
Yes.
and on behalf of the Borough President, President Borough of Manhattan.
No.
Calendar item number 1, resolution is adopted.
Will the clerk please call the second calendar item?
New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, calendar item number 2. In the matter of the intent to seek franchise and concession review committee approval to authorize New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, or DOHMH, to utilize a different procedure pursuant to section 1-16 of the concession rules of the City of New York to negotiate an amendment to the concession agreement with Optum RX Discount Services LLC, formerly known as Catamaran Discount Card Services LLC, to develop, operate, and administer the New York City Drug Discount Card Program available to all New York City residents. DOHMH anticipates that the amendment would extend the term of the existing concession agreement for an additional 18 months.
Is there a member who wishes to make a statement or ask a question on this matter? If not, will a member please make a motion to move this item? Will another member please second the motion? Will the clerk please take the vote?
Mayor,
Yes.
Office of the Mayor,
Yes.
Controller,
Yes.
Corporation Council,
Yes.
Office of Management and Budget,
Yes.
and on behalf of the Borough President, President Borough of Staten Island. Calendar item number 2, resolution is adopted. We ask that the reporter make the entire public meeting agenda, which was made publicly available and distributed at this meeting, part of the final record of this proceeding. That completes the calendar.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.